All righty. Okay. All right. Hello, hello. We're live. We're live. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Give me 1 second, everybody. 1 second. Come here, Otis. You want to come here? Come on. Okay. All righty. So, hello, everybody. So sorry about that. Hi, Otis. Otis is here. Thanks so much for being here with me, everyone. Hello from Tulsa, Oklahoma, Jackson, Mississippi. Hello. Welcome. So much is going on. And yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the things that, we have been talking about around why people just don't like Meghan Markle. I've been speaking about her for so long. I feel like I have a really good grasp on you got to see this. Otis is right. Come here, Otis, right here. Come here. Come here. Right here. That's okay. Let me pick you up. Okay, come here. He's always scratching on me. Here he is. He just went to the groomers not long ago, yesterday. So he's got on his little new bandana. Hey, Mr. Otis. Hello, Indiana, England, UK, Connecticut, Southern California, Tennessee. Wow. Australia. Wow. Thank you so much for being here. I wanted to talk to you all today about a video that Meghan actually did a while ago, but just, before I even get into that, there's so much going on around what's happening with P. Diddy. And I did a little short yesterday, and I'm actually doing a video to go in more on this video that I did yesterday, this short, where Jaguar Wright called out and said some things about Harry and Meghan. And I was, to be quite honest with you all, very, very shocked. And it's almost like when talking about all of this really brings me back to the years when I was young and living in California, and just all the things that happened when I was young. And then I see all these stories that are now coming out, and I can validate for all of this. It's so reminiscent of the time that I had when I was younger. And now Harry and Meghan have been called into some things, and it is going there. It is really getting very dark. And I just don't know. I don't know. I'm at the point now. I mean, I know what I know, but there's some things that have happened that are going to take us to a place that is very not, that's just not good, not good. And it all is, it's going to be very interesting to watch it all unravel. It's going to be very interesting to watch that. So let's look into, oh, that's interesting that Joyce is saying. So the Limonada podcast that Meghan was going to be doing they're going into bankruptcy now. It's almost like every single thing that Meghan does and touches turns to crap. Everything. Because I think on the heels of her wanting to do all of the things that she's trying to do, she's showing up in a way that is not authentic. It's not real. She would have been so much better off continuing her TIG, because that was doing pretty well. But I think she thought marrying someone like Harry and having him as your handbag would have propelled her to some success that she was trying to go for. She's like, okay, we're going to do this now. Okay, you on my side, you're my husband, you're going to open these doors. Okay, let's just go all the way. And now the doors are opened, and she's not going anywhere with any of it. It's falling completely flat. It is a phenomenon. It's very interesting. I'm very intrigued by it all. But just talking about Meghan as I have over these years, and now seeing that, since moving to Hollywood, they have now been drawn into this Puff Daddy stuff with his these allegations around his the things that he's been doing. A very, very reputable person in the industry has called out Harry and Meghan. And that was from my short that I did yesterday. And I'm tomorrow I'm going to upload my video on it, but I've been doing some research and looking into some things, and I'm going to do that video. Is going to be tomorrow. But thanks so much for being here with me today. I wanted to come on sooner. So just a little heads up. My Saturdays are a little crazy sometimes, so I'm sorry I wasn't live sooner, but in general, I'm on here around this time on Saturdays. Okay. So anyway, so what I'm going to be talking about in this video is just going to really look at Hollywood in general and talk about these allegations that Jaguar Wright has said, and she's seriously has called out not only Harry and Meghan but Prince Andrew as well. So that's going to be really interesting. So I do hope that you watch that video. I'll be posting it tomorrow. Okay, so today, yes, there's some tapes. There's some tapes. This is like, it's bad, y'all. It is so bad. It is so indicative of someone that wants to make it in Hollywood to find themselves in this conundrum. Because you have to remember, the whole point for Meghan was to move back to Hollywood to propel herself on this, campaign to being, a Hollywood mogul, a commercial enterprise, something that she was working towards. And now the people in Hollywood, or a lot of them, are sweating bullets now. They are seriously in a panic because a lot of A-listers have been blackmailed from these tapes, these alleged tapes by P. Diddy. And Jaguar Wright was talking about people that have tapes, that who she knows has these tapes. And she wanted Harry and Meghan to just be honest and come forward with the fact that they have a tape. I'm like, what? I'm like, where did that come from? I'm thinking she's gonna list like all these rappers and things, and then she goes into, well, you'd be surprised about the politicians and the royals. And I'm like, oh, did someone say royals? Did someone say royals? And then she's talking about the weird uncle, which I'm assuming she's talking about Prince Andrew. And then she says Harry and Meghan. I'm like, what? And this woman is pretty reputable. I mean, I've been watching her videos for a while. I just don't really talk about it on my channel. But she's pretty like 99% accurate in the things that she's been talking about months before we even saw this Diddy stuff happening. She had been talking about it. And there's some other things. And then I remember some things that she was saying about Tyler Perry. And then that kind of piqued my interest because, the Tyler Perry, Meghan Markle connection. I mean, Tyler Perry being named as the godfather to their daughter, Lily. So, she said some things about him, and then I started listening to other videos that are talking about someone like Tyler Perry. And then it just leads you down this rabbit hole of other industry people, because you have to understand Hollywood is a small community of people, and you're just off by, how they say 4 degrees of separation. Like there's a connection to like all these people vicariously. Like even I, from my little stint in Hollywood, I have short connections to certain A-level people in Hollywood just because of some of the jobs I've had. So you just imagine the relationships that these people have had in the industry, because that's what you do. You are there to work your connections and try to make it happen for you. And that's what Harry and Meghan did the moment they left the royal family. Their whole everything was about making it in Hollywood. Now, you can say that they were trying to just go and do their humanitarian work, but It was never really just about being a humanitarian. It was never really just about that, because if if it was really about being a humanitarian, then why didn't they just stay and work in the royal family, since that was the work that they were already doing? That was the work. So there was an underlining motive outside of being a humanitarian that propelled Harry and Meghan to go do what they wanted to do in Hollywood. So it was about now being financially independent from the royal family. And if your goal is to be financially independent and you have no talent, like, you can't just go market your next product that you know is going to be successful. You can't just go and start uh creating shows because you are a performer. Like, you have to think about it. Harry and Meghan left the royal family to be independent of the royal family financially. They went to do this in Hollywood with no talent and no real aspects of continual money coming in. I mean, there's the wealth that they had when they were in the royal family, but now they're cut off financially. So the money that they brought with them, it's not going to be enough to sustain them long term in Hollywood if you are trying to live that really high and luxury brand of Hollywood life. So you think about, if you're leaving the royal family, you're being cut off financially, you're bringing some millions with you, you are getting a place in one of the most expensive areas in Hollywood, you are competing with the Joneses because you have a certain profile you're trying to sustain. Considering Harry is a prince, he's from the monarchy, you can't just go live in, Van Nuys complex. I mean, you're not just going to go live on, in the valley renting the next, house for rent. You are trying to live a very high level lifestyle to maintain the image of coming from royalty. So you are competing with the royal life. And so that financial security that they had was never going to be enough to sustain them, considering what they had to portray, this image. And so you're coming to Hollywood to be independent of the royals. What are you going to do? You are going to have to find deals. And that's what they did. So we know that they found Netflix, they found Spotify, they sold interviews or did things with Oprah, made Oprah and CBS a lot of money, made them lots of money. And they tried to make it sound like they didn't make any money, Harry and Meghan, but we know in some roundabout way they made money. You're not going to go sell the royal family down the river and not have a back end to some financial incentives that are going to help you maintain this high level profile of a life that you are trying to compete with, because image is everything in Hollywood. Image is everything. And so you look at the quasi royal tours that Harry and Meghan have done, and that is all to sustain this image of royalty so that they can be perceived as royalty, to maintain the image that they're trying to sell in Hollywood. That's the only reason. That's why they're doing it. And then you talk about the other things around that, how it's just not good for them to do that, and that goes down another path. But for the purposes of why they did it, that's why. And so now you have this couple who is trying to meet people to up their profile, their connections. Okay, so they've managed to do that, because when you come to Hollywood as the son of King Charles, you're going to have certain doors opened up for you. Certain people are just going to talk to you just because you are the son of the King of England. Let's just keep it real, folks, okay? Because rest assured, Meghan has been trying to go into these doors way before Harry came into the picture. Okay, so Harry has been able to open the door for these relationships that Meghan has been trying to get the whole time she's been pursuing her career in Hollywood. And so Harry opens the door, and they get these deals, these astronomical amounts of money and access. And then once they're in the door, okay, where's what? How are you going to improve on this connection and make money for the people that listened to you, that heard you speak? And I can almost assure you that Harry and Meghan said that they were going to just give them so much access to real royalty that people were very much, wanting to hear what they had to say. And this brings me just to my point about how they are now in bed with all this stuff around P. Diddy. And that's because at the time in 2020, when Jaguar Wright was starting to have these interviews, not until 2 years later, but in 2020, around the time of the pandemic, like people were still like doing things. And these parties were going on underground. And if you're trying to make an empire, you are trying to get in contact with people that are going to help you. You cannot tell me that they did not somehow cross the paths of the people that have now been caught up in this whole P. Diddy scandal. And depending on what it was that they did, I mean, it could be anything. It could be maybe they showed up to a party, maybe they showed up and nothing happened, but maybe they showed up and a lot happened. Because you have to remember, folks, the tenaciousness, the ambition of someone like Meghan is going to lead you down those rabbit holes, because that's how deep her ambition is. She wants it all. And being in contact with the A-listers, as a lot of celebrities are with P. Diddy, it wouldn't surprise me, that they would be in these circles around him and the other A-listers within P. Diddy circles. But now Jaguar Wright is saying that they have tapes. I mean, my God, is this not like royalty meets the ghetto? I mean, I'm sorry. This has just gotten really ghetto now. And I mean, you have sold yourself to be so low class. Just your pursuit of trying to make it in Hollywood is giving off an aura of desperation. Like you are so desperate to be able to have that mark of celebrity, which is, in my opinion, in a lot of ways, very, very demonic and sinister, and it goes down rabbit holes. I've seen it, and I've had a lot of my own personal experiences in Hollywood, some things that that have, I thank God I wanted to have more, see more, because, but Meghan has brought Harry into the underbelly of a lot of bad things. And I think Harry has seen it. He's been there without Meghan when he was younger. So, that's my 5 cents on that. So watch my video. I'm going to post a video tomorrow, just diving a little bit deeper into the allegations that Jaguar Wright has said about Harry and Meghan, because I find it very intriguing to a new diversion of things that have opened up a whole Pandora's box of just some nonsense and what crazy, just crazy. Okay. So with that said, I am going to talk about a interview. Well, actually, let's just go into the bullying allegations just really quickly. I want to just look at, because this right now is marking the end of anything that Meghan Markle thought she was going to do with Harry the handbag. Harry the handbag, he opened up the doors and people listened, the doors open, and now they've shown themselves. And yeah, Meghan is just not, it's not going to happen for her because of what's happening. So there's an article that came out, and I want to just kind of go over this and just show you a couple things around the bullying, because I think there's a turning point. around the allegations that Meghan is getting right now around the bullying that she is. It's now a momentum. You know how sometimes stories come out and then they go away and then it's on to the next thing. No, this story around Meghan and Harry and their life as employers has taken them to this bad reputation that they haven't even really had a chance to build. I mean, if you think about it, in England, they did some things in England that a lot of Americans don't know about. It was essentially a clean slate for them here in the States. It was a clean slate. And now they have essentially ruined that clean slate. So, how do you now pick up and build this empire that you are so tenacious to grab hold of when you have now a reputation that is being slaughtered in the media? And that's why Meghan, I think, is so desperate now. She's trying to not allow this to take her under and to drown her. This is why she came out with that Us Magazine Weekly article, because she sees how it's I'm sorry, Otis. I'm sorry. He's sitting on my lap here. You see here. You see Mr. Otis? Here, Mr. Otis is sitting here on my lap. Um it's taking her over. Okay. Okay. So this is the article. I'm just going to share this article so we can all just take a look here. So give me a second, because I am getting used to doing this. Threat from staffers. Okay. Okay, here we go. So Meghan Markle's new bullying allegations within the United States operations could get worse if staffers choose now to sue her. And this is, I think, this right here is the cornerstone of why people haven't really gravitated towards Meghan, because we remember during the royal wedding when there were stories that were coming out, and this was in the very beginning of Meghan inside the royal household. So if you are now getting stories as a newcomer to the royal family as being a bully, that set the tone for her life in public, because this is when most people got to know who she is. She's now marrying a very famous man, and now the allegations are coming out. But at the time, a lot of people gave her the benefit of the doubt because, okay, we know how stressful a wedding can be. We know how stressful it can be, moving in to live with a family. So we kind of bypassed it, and we thought, okay, let's call it out. But then at the same time, just give it some more time, because maybe this is just circumstance that she's caught up in, being new member of this high profile family. It's a big wedding, a lot of emotions. Let's just kind of not really take it too seriously. But as you can see now, it's still happening in the States. And now there's talk of she could be sued, because we got to really understand the gravity of this situation that Meghan is in now as a bully. This is, her empire is crumbling. And I would even beg to differ around calling it an empire. Her potential empire is crumbling before it even gets off the ground. It's not even going to have a chance to flourish, because who she is at the undercore, in the DNA of her bones from when she was a little girl, it set the tone. And just to give you an idea, I was listening to, now I'm not political, but I was listening to a short that Michelle Obama said, and something that she teaches her girls, because you all know I'm about life skills, making good choices and all of that. And she was doing this speech, and she said, who you are now as a young person, you are setting the tone for the kind of adult you're going to be. So if you are lazy and not getting up, if you're not, making your bed, or if you're not being nice, you're going to be, that is what you're working towards when you become an adult. Because now you are ingrained in these things that you are setting the tone for as a young person. This is what it is that you are going to be as you grow up. So set the tone to be a hard worker now as a young person, so that as you get older and you are growing into being a hard worker. You're growing into being a good person. Like, she had all these examples, and it's so true. And this is how I see Meghan Markle, because when she was younger, she was in this cocoon of her privileged life of with living with her father, who wanted to give her the world, because he was not able to give his two older children, Samantha and Thomas Jr., the same kind of life that he was now able to give to Meghan, because now he was making more money, he was older, he had the financial wherewithal to do the things for Meghan that he just couldn't do for his other children when they were younger. And so as Meghan was growing up, she had access to everything. She did not live an impoverished life. She lived a very, very privileged life. And so, living that privilege, she was able to expect things. She expected what she wanted, and she got it pretty much her whole life. She didn't have those parents that were telling her no. She didn't have the kind of life where, she was compromised in her poverty, where she had to put up with the bullies or the people, that were going to try to, teach her a thing or two. No, she lived a very cocooned life. And as she got older, she got more and more, and the expectation was always there. And so now she's an adult living this life that she has known her whole life as a young person. And now she's expecting things now as an adult. And essentially she's getting the things that she's expecting. And her world has never been challenged, really. Okay. And I think this is why her goal was always to find the man that could do something for her, because she wanted someone that was going to always give her access. It was never really about finding the man that she really loves. It was never about finding the guy that brings out the best in you. It was finding the guy that was going to open up the doors to her ambition, to continually give her what her daddy always gave her. And so when you look at someone like Trevor, this is exactly who he was for her. And so he perpetuated a lot of things that, she wanted to do. But at the same time, he wasn't always giving her the things that she wanted him to give her. And then we know what happened. She ended up leaving him. And now this is why we have her with someone like Harry, because it's a continuation of what she's always wanted, someone to open up these doors for her. So that takes me to the bullying allegations and what's going to happen now. So these bullying allegations within the U.S. could worse for her, because staffers are looking to sue. So the Hollywood Reporter, we know, quoted a source who said that Harry and Meghan are bad decision makers, while the Duke is an enabler and the Duchess belittles people. Okay. Can you imagine how, when she didn't get what she wanted from her dad, how she treated her father? I mean, we've seen the videos. We've seen her like turn her nose up when, when she didn't get what she wanted. And she would always eventually get what she wanted. So it wouldn't surprise me that she's the kind of person that would belittle someone, because you're used to, if someone that you are paying a salary to doesn't do what you want them to do, in Meghan's mind, you're going to be the kind of person that I'm going to belittle, because I'm used to getting what I want. I pay your salary. And the expectation is there. The mindset is there. So to me, that just sounds like not a very good person. Okay. A senior current staffer told the outlet everyone is terrified of Meghan. Terrified. Imagine going to your job and being terrified. That is not good, because your job is your job to live off of, to pay your bills, to have security. And if you're terrified at a place that you have to go to make a living, you are affecting people's livelihood. This is life or death for a lot of people having Meghan as an employer, because she's belittling you. You're scared to death of this woman. You don't know what's going to happen when you show up. Okay. So the Duchess of Sussex's team staged a fight back in the US Weekly. So we know now this article came out where she was going to be talking now about how she's really a good employer. So the story comes after Meghan dismissed suggestions that she had bullied Kensington Palace aides as part of a smear campaign by the institution. Now, Eric Schiffer, chair reputation management consultant, told Newsweek it is too early to know the full extent of damage and context, where there could still be more to come out. And this is the thing. Oops, excuse me, Otis. This is the thing. We have not heard the most of what we're going to hear. We're not. We've just started to hear it, because now, like I'm saying with this story, more is coming out. They're talking about suing, because this is going to explain why, if any NDAs were signed, are now null and void because of what we're talking about now. And I'll explain it in a second. So he goes on to say that I would like to say that this will depend on other things. For example, is there a risk of litigation from any of these people, he said. Are there more things that will come out? Will other media organizations pick this up and want to do more exclusives on the accusers? So we don't know what filmmakers are looking to reach out to these staffers that have been bullied. We don't know what other accusers or accused people are thinking about now, saying that have not spoken so far. There's probably so much more like getting ready to happen. Like, this is a momentum now. And it's almost like, something, rolling, down a hill. The more it continues to roll, the more momentum it gets, the heavier it gets, and the more difficult it is to keep it from rolling. And this is where we are now with these bullying allegations. So if this is a short-term problem, then less so. The question is, will this extend? They're attempting to throw water on it by showing others who have been in that environment. But it will come down to, can this story stay alive? And that is the key. Is this story going to stay alive, or is Meghan going to be able to squash it? Now, we know she tried to squash it, okay, with the Us Weekly article, but then the Daily Beast came out and a staffer talked about her being a demon. I mean, now what is she going to do? Now, this article is coming out and saying they're looking to sue, because here's the thing. When attorneys get their paws on somebody who has been bullied by a famous person, you best be believing they're going to try to get their name out there and jump on the bandwagon and try to get this moving and momentum going behind it, because there's money to be made. There is money to be made. And when there's money to be made, Meghan better be very, very cautious and scared, because I think that's why she got that US Weekly article out, because she is afraid of what else could come out around these bullying allegations. Because here's the thing. If you are bullied on a job, if you are treated in a way that goes against employment law, because there are laws in place in America that set the standard for what you are allowed and not allowed to do to employees, you are protected. And if Meghan and Harry broke the law when it comes to their treatment of their employees, then any NDA that they've signed is null and void. There is no NDA. And now these staffers can come out and speak on what Meghan did that was illegal. Okay? So that's where I think she's running scared. Now, Harry and Meghan's former head of content, Ben Browning, told Us Weekly that about his experience and that it was positive and supportive. We all continue to be friends. The narratives we've seen suggesting the contrary are untrue. Now, if that is the case, why are you not still there, Ben? Why? Why are you not still working in a place that's a nice environment? You know, it's just Meghan trying to save face, because perhaps maybe he was the one that had to do things that Meghan told him to do. And now he's in trouble for breaking the employment laws. So of course he might be motivated to come out and say, oh no, everything was nice. You know, it wasn't that kind of environment, because he may now have liability on his hands for things that he did at the direction of Harry and Meghan. I'm just saying, allegedly. That could be. I'm assuming. Because why are you not still working for them if it's such a great place? Especially for such a short amount of time. Okay, so Us Weekly editor Dan Wakeford also recorded a YouTube video summarizing how one unnamed source felt about the saga. And he said, we're here for a reason, says one of the current team members. If you come for our bosses, we're coming for you. We're just trying to do good. And now that right there tells you how scared Meghan and Harry really are. Because if someone else is coming out and making some idle threat, if you come for us, we're going to come for you. They are afraid. They are very afraid. And these bullying allegations have really set the tone for a lot of things that could just go like sideways for Harry and Meghan. Because this video was, there's no way this man did this YouTube video without the complete complicit approval of Harry and Meghan saying, yes, go ahead and do that. There's no way. We know that. That's how it is. Because Meghan and Harry, we know, want to sue people a lot for coming out and saying anything, but she wants people to come out and to give a counter narrative because they're scared about being sued. And if I were a staffer and I was bullied and someone broke my rights as an employee in the United States of America, I'm suing because you have broken employment law. There are certain obligations that you have to have as an employer, and you're not allowed to do these things. So we're coming for you may sound like an unusual way to counter bullying allegations, but it could perhaps hint at fears that there may be more to come. And that's exactly right, folks. This is a hint that there is more to come around these bullying allegations. This is why it was no longer just the Us magazine. Now they're trying to get people to come out and to really squash it, because the momentum is getting really heavy for Harry and Meghan. We need more counter bullying allegations so that I can not let this destroy my reputation, because that's what's happening. One intriguing dimension of the Hollywood Reporter's coverage is that its editor, Mayor Roshan, said its journalists had spoken to 12 sources, but the article appears primarily, quote, one. They've quoted the one with the other people, the other 11, backing up the claims of that one. So it's not surprising. So our reporter spoke to, I think, a dozen people, most of them people who worked very closely with the couple in various capacities now and previously, he said during Access Hollywood. Okay, so I'm just going to just take a little pause here for a second and just think about something. Uh, when you look at what is happening with the whole P. Diddy allegations, and now you look at the bullying allegations, there is a lot that is being said that have potential lawsuits and backlash for Harry and Meghan. And it's no surprise to me that Meghan hasn't been seen in a while, considering Harry is out there doing things. But Meghan, I believe, is the biggest one, that the one that is the bully, essentially. She's the one that's doing the most damage. And she is the one, I believe, who is the most scared around all of this. So it almost makes you wonder, what is she going to do? Like, what is your recourse? What is your way to combat these allegations of being called out as part of the P. Diddy scandal, and now the bullying allegation? The momentum of that story is just spiraling. It's a lot. And you have not been able to combat hardly anything since you got to LA to get your empire going. Can you imagine the stress, the way that would just pull on your whole being of a person, because you're trying to survive to be this big global empire that you're never going to get to make now. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. So that's just one thing. Okay, so now there was an interview that Meghan did. We all saw this interview back in, I think it was 2021. It was. Okay. I'm going to show you that video now. We're going to just take a deep look into that. Give me 1 second. Okay, yes. So the article, yeah, it talks about Harry and his time and all that. I just want to get into this other video before I'm done with my live today, because I think looking at things in hindsight reveals a lot. It reveals a lot. Okay, so now we're going to share this screen. We're going to stop this one and we're going to present another one. This one. Here we go. We're going to share this one. Okay. Now, this part of the video, when you hear Meghan talk, she's going to start talking about some things that she and Harry are actually doing right now that I want you all to listen to from back then. And we're going to talk about how it's moving forward now. Okay, let's take a listen.
You deal with that. Oftentimes you walk in here and it's like you're bigger than life just walking in.
Is that how you felt just now?
Yes. No. I mean, the whole place lit up. Absolutely.
That's why. Well, you know, we don't get out much, so I don't personally feel that way. I still see myself as the same that I've always been. Right. I've always been a hard worker. I have always, you know, the people that know me well, and some of them are here today, I've just always been the same. And so
now look, she's always been the same. So that goes back to her being the same since when she was little. She has always been the same. Nothing really has changed about this woman and how she's done things, okay? This is somebody who's used to getting their way. And if she doesn't get what she wants, she's going to let you know.
I think Melody's point is a really strong one, in that the perception might be different, but if you are really grounded in who you are, you know, and your ethics and your values, and I don't know.
What ethics and what values? Ethics and values. When you are accused of bullying somebody, when you are accused of doing things that you know are wrong, do you really have ethics and values around these things? No. I think Meghan says things that she wants people to hear, but she doesn't walk the walk around these things.
I show up in the same way that I always have.
How much do you think this whole issue of perception, and specifically for women, is a function of or being impacted and influenced by the media and the world of social media? I mean, I think that's something that a lot of people are grappling with now. Facebook came out recently. I wouldn't say they came out with it, but there was information leaked about sort of the impact that social media has on young women. And but how does that, you think, impact the sort of larger issue?
Now, when she speaks here, she's going to be speaking from her own point of view, her point of view of how people have treated her. This is not going to be about people in general. It's all from the lens of Meghan Markle around how people have treated her, because it's never really about other people. So listen how she talks about that.
The entire environment of social media, not just social media, media in a broader sense as well. You know, I think there is really legitimate media, but at the moment you see, in many ways, social media feeding into that. So it becomes a race to the bottom because this clickbait culture has made it so that something that's salacious is more interesting and gets more pickup and can be monetized.
Right.
So that ends up being the thing that feeds the entire environment of the media. You know, I think the challenging piece there is that in many ways, because it is so quick and rapid in how it's being delivered, it's about creating the news rather than reporting the news. But the damaging effects of that, specifically for women, especially for young girls, is impossible to even quantify.
So you hear that around creating the news? No, what has been created is Meghan's negative attitude and how she treats people that is being talked about. And there's no accountability for how you have contributed to the news cycle because of your actions. These are actions and things that people are reporting on that Meghan Markle has actually done. No one's creating that. See, Meghan is talking about how she's been affected by social media. It's not about the bigger picture here, because how would she know? How would she know? She knows how people have treated her. So she's trying to make this something that is affecting everybody. But my general consensus is been pretty good on social media. I mean, a lot of you have been very kind and nice to me. People don't tend to just come out and say negative things. And sometimes it's constructive. Sometimes if you just listen, maybe you'll learn a thing or two. But Meghan wants to project how people have treated her. And now she and her husband are taking how people have treated them, and they're trying to get this big campaign behind it to change everything for everybody because of how they've been treated. It's not about the people. Has she gone out and done surveys and talked to people about their experiences on the internet? Has she really done things that gives a broader picture of what it's like to be online? No, she is giving her own personal experience and projecting that onto people and what the internet is in general. She doesn't know that. She doesn't know that. And that's what I find so disingenuous about Meghan, because they're trying to change things because of what is going on in their privileged lives, not what is really happening around social media as a collective. Okay? Now, there's another part of this interview that I wanted to say. Hold on. We're going to present this screen here. Sorry, I accidentally stopped it. Okay. Now we're going to go to the part where she's going to be talking about something else. And that's at 10:44. Here we go.
You could invest in just scrolling online. During lockdown and the absence of being out of the house or being at work, maybe you're spending 50 hours online. You're becoming indoctrinated. You're becoming conditioned to be cruel. And there has to be responsibility that lands somewhere, and that must be with the platforms. With some, that's a much larger conversation. But it's really.
But do you think there's a way to harness social media in some way to actually help with these issues we're talking about now, in terms of this issue of parity and some of the issues that you've been talking about, whether it be paid family leave or anything else?
I think that there are ways to make strong changes on social media platforms and with the media in general. but people have to be brave enough to do it. In terms of parity, I think, right now, the demonization that you're talking about for women, if they're being called ambitious, one of the things that seems like such an easy solve from my lens, and we talked to some friends about this as well. You look at Instagram, for example, there's a like button or there's comments. So you have to, if you disagree with it, comment in a really vitriolic way.
Now, this is the thing. Why is it that the assumption is that people are going to comment in a very vitriolic way? In general, usually when I put something on social media, I get a lot of nice comments. I do. I get a lot of people giving me compliments, saying nice things. But it has to tell you a lot about somebody when, like I said, Meghan is speaking from her perspective, that whenever she does anything, there's a lot of negativity, because this is her perception. Let's just get that straight. It's not mine. And I don't know if it's yours as well. But you have to wonder, Meghan is trying to use what has happened to her to be the picture for everybody. And what she and her husband are trying to do as bullies to change things around social media, that this is what they were talking about. And this is how they're going to try to change the narrative around our First Amendment, our freedom of speech, trying to get momentum behind that, because they are the ones who are the bullies. They are the ones that have somehow been looked at as not very nice people. And so now they're trying to project that on society to make changes in society. And I think that is a very dangerous thing, because you don't represent us at all. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to pick some of your questions, because I want to see if anybody has anything that they've been saying about this, and highlight perhaps some things that you might be thinking. Because a lot of celebrities are trying to now be the voices around a lot of things that are happening around, and very important issues that we're seeing. And I think the worst thing that we can do is have someone like a Harry and Meghan be the voices for things that we're seeing out in the world, because they should never be the representatives of anything in society, because of how they have treated people, how they have projected on their own employees, can now be a projection on us as a society. We can't allow them to get this big, powerful voice to be the representatives of the things that can have a direct effect on us as people. And that's what they're trying to do. All right. So just trying to see if I can find a question. I don't see any questions, but I do see a Sussex squad person in here, a supporter of Meghan or whatever. Someone's trying to say something that is, completely contrary. At the end of the day, a lot of people are going to be misguided by her teachings. And believe me, she is trying to teach a lot of people, trying to be that voice. So here we go. So Joyce Kelly is saying, can the staff really sue her? I certainly hope so. So yes, to your question, from what I've read, because think about it. If you have an employer who is, well, let's just say this. When you go to work for someone, because I'm an employer, I have people that I pay as staff for my charity. There are certain laws and things that you have to abide by. The government sends them to you. The federal government sends them to you to make sure you have to post certain rules and things in your work environment. The assumption is not that people work for you and you can treat them however you want. People are not allowed to just be treated like anything. You have to abide by certain laws and rules, expectations of how you treat them, and if you don't, you can be sued. And so when you do engage in things that are illegal as an employer, you can be sued. And if that's the case, and there are NDAs in place, those NDAs are null and void. They are no longer valid. And so, yes, they can be sued. Okay. So you're not allowed to do that. Okay. Um, so going to what Sarah Brewer is saying, can the employees break their NDAs? From what I understand, yes, they can break their NDAs if the law has been broken. If your employer has done something to you, they have broken the law. And then if they have broken the law, and any NDA that you have signed with them will become null and void. This is what I read. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but from what I read, that's what it is. And if someone's a lawyer, let me know. Because yes, this is a good point that Tracy is saying. They need Gloria Allred, attorney, call a press conference, a group lawsuit. Exactly. Because let me tell you, if several women, especially because women are the demographic that Meghan wants to be the advocate on behalf of. And if she's bullied women, if these women came together to create a lawsuit going against Meghan and how she has treated them on the job, this would be so damaging to Meghan. It would be, I mean, huge for her. And I mean, the only thing she would be able to do then, you better go back to the royal family or go hide under a rock, because your independence as someone trying to get an empire, to do some kind of commercial enterprise, is never going to happen. So that right there is going to be a big one for Meghan, I think, if it ever happens. And I hope it does. I hope the women that have been bullied by Meghan come together for a class action lawsuit and sue Meghan Markle for bullying, for trauma. Now, I don't know the laws in the UK because I know it happened in the UK, but it looks like has happened here in the United States. They could get a lot of money and they could definitely make some headway to bring down anything that Meghan wants to do with a class action lawsuit. You best be believing that. Absolutely. Yes. Now, someone had asked this question. Yes, about the accounting for Archwell Foundation. Now, I am still looking into that because I had done a live with Paula M a while back where we had talked about the Archwell Foundation and some of the things that we had uncovered, and that is still being looked into. So thanks for bringing that to my attention. It is definitely still on the table for sure. Okay. Allison wants to know if she gives a 401 match, and that would be really surprising. I wonder too if she does give a 401. I mean, if they have a match they give to their employees, that would be commendable. I doubt it. I doubt it very much if she would do that, because they just don't seem, they seem like they are desperate to make an empire for themselves. I just don't know that they would be that generous, quite frankly. I don't know. Let's see here. She gets healthcare, PTO. Allison says she wants to know if she gives healthcare and PTO, paid time off, and disability benefits. That would be a good question to find the answers to, because that right there as well would tell us a lot about the kind of employer she is. So, like, what kind of benefits do you give your employees? It lets you know if you are really somebody who is looking out for your employees. And I think if they don't do that as millionaires, that would be very sad. That would be extremely just ridiculous. Yeah. I don't think that would be good. Okay. All right. So, yes, that is, I guess, something to do with around employment law. I don't know. I mean, you don't have to do it. I know you don't have to. But I think if you're a millionaire, you're as popular as Harry is, then I think it would behoove you to give certain kind of benefits like that, just because, yeah, you are a millionaire. You should give those kind of benefits, right? I mean, why wouldn't you? Okay, so there's one last part that I want to look at for this part around the interview that Meghan gave, and I'm going to show you that now here. Let's see here. Okay. Oops, I think I was already sharing now right here. Here it is, right here.
It's really nice to be in person, right? And to be able to interact in that way. So I hope that the hybrid continues to work, but that people also recognize that even if you can do it remotely, that there's nothing that beats just real connection face to face. We wish you were here, Melody.
We do.
I know. I say live is better than Memorex. We all prefer a live concert to.
Wait a minute.
Or in that regard, what's so.
He's going to ask her about. Well, you'll see. You'll see. Hold on.
Valuable isn't just cheerleading each other through the process of whatever discriminations we may face or whatever glass ceilings that are there, but really being the person to say, let me make this phone call for you. Actually, this is what you should be thinking about when you sign that contract. This is when you should walk away from the table. This is when you should push in a little bit more. Someone who has seasoned experience, who is able to guide you in a really strong way. That is part of how we're going to move the needle. I don't know if you agree, but that's been really valuable for me just in knowing Melody.
Well, first of all, I've been.
Okay, so now what she was talking about here was about mentorship. And this is why in the very beginning, when they came to the States, Meghan was trying to get these doors opened up from the very beginning, because she knew having people, a very powerful women as your mentor, was going to help propel her career. Now, this was in the early, I think 2021, around that time, and she wanted to be in with the big wigs. So Melody is married to George Lucas, so she's already like in the Hollywood, and she's also, in the industry, a very big, successful people. And so Meghan, her intention was always, I believe, because of her getting to know someone like a Melody Hobson here, she wanted to have the doors opened independent of her relationship to Harry. And so this is why she was talking about that here in this conversation in the beginning, but it was never really about how she could be that mentor for someone who was coming up as a young, underprivileged youth per se. Meghan has always been concerned about what she could get out of Hollywood. And I don't know if you all saw or caught this from this interview, but this is what I saw. I saw someone who was already in the position of privilege that was coming to the States, trying to get doors opened up to her and reaching out to the very wealthy people. We know Oprah, Tyler Perry, this Melody, and all the people that she knows, all the people that her husband knows in the film industry. And like what she just said here, telling you about, what to do when you go in to make these big deals, because that's what it's about with Meghan. It's about the big deals. It's about getting the big Netflix contract, the Spotify's, being able to get in the door to make millions and millions of dollars. It was never really about how Meghan could take the access that she had with her husband to really help the underprivileged girls and boys that would benefit tremendously from having someone like Meghan or Harry open doors for them. It was about Meghan having the doors opened for her empire. And if there's anything that you got from Meghan being in this interview that she did when she first came to the States with Harry, was the proof. This interview was the proof of what she wanted to happen in the States. It was about making the connections to the people that could help her further than what Harry was able to do for her. Because since this has happened, and they talked about getting the lesser known publications, the media outlets that were lesser known, to give them a voice. Harry and Meghan haven't done that. since coming to the States. Meghan hasn't tried to empower young girls, young boys to help them get through big doors, because what Harry and Meghan have is enough to do what I just said. But the bigger picture that we must remember is Meghan has shown us who she is from the very beginning. And that was when they came out and she did this interview and getting in contact with someone like a Melanie Hobson to open up more doors. But what I find so surprising, we have not seen her with Melody since, or anyone in Melody's circle since the pandemic is over. Because now they have realized, they have come to know who Meghan really is. And this is why you don't see her in these circles anymore. But that is something that I think was glaring to me from the beginning. Who she aligned herself with, rather than what she was going to do with what she already had. Came to the States. It's like that. You could have been so people, but you chose to do something that was going to help benefit you and your empire that you're trying to build in the States. That for me is exactly why I think a lot of people are not really gravitating towards Harry and Meghan, because of what they did from the beginning of coming over here. And I don't know if that makes sense to you all. That's how I see it. That's how I perceived it, because I know what I'm trying to do every day with my work, with not having much. We all have a lot that we can give and support. Are we going to push aside our own wants and needs to get our empire? Or are we going to use what we already have to help somebody who's up and coming and struggling? That's what true humanitarians do. And that's exactly what Harry and Meghan chose not to do. So that is my take on, I think, this week and the whole bullying allegations, and why I think Meghan and Harry are not going to, I think, get exactly what it is that they're trying to get here in the States, because of their true intentions from the very beginning. Now, with that, and before I leave you all on this live today, once again, I want to mention the P. Diddy allegations and how Harry and Meghan's name was brought up by Jaguar Wright. I am going to be doing a video. I'm going to be talking more about what has come out, because it is jaw-dropping information that has put Harry and Meghan in the rabbit hole of the cesspool, the pit of Hollywood. And anybody who is striving to make it in Hollywood, anybody who is trying to get their celebrity on, like we know Harry and Meghan were doing when they first came over to Hollywood, you would have found yourself in these circles, because that's what you do. And that's what we're seeing. So we'll see when I get that video. I'm going to put that out tomorrow. So remember to like this video today, everybody. Like the video. And thank you so much for being here with me all today. I hope you got something out of this. And your support means the world, because we have to keep it real. We have to remember why people were not feeling this woman from the very beginning. The signs were there. The signs were there in that interview that I just showed you. The signs were there all along. And we must never forget. We must never forget, because it is setting the tone for so much moving forward. So much. And I want to thank you all. Please like this video. Drop me a line and let me know your thoughts. Keep your emails and comments coming, because it is definitely something that I am passionate about. I think it's definitely on the path of learning something, understanding the underbelly of something, not looking at it superficially for what you may see, but like like underneath, what are we really seeing? And what we really saw from that interview from Meghan was so much about what she and her husband are trying to do with their own careers to make millions and millions of dollars, rather than what they're trying to do as humanitarians. Remember that. Remember that. Okay. So if you want to email me, I will put it in the chat. My email is pdina49@aol.com. So please send me your emails and just let me know your thoughts, your support, your everything, because I want to talk about why people really haven't been feeling Meghan, because a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people are just now tuning in. A lot of people haven't been here from the beginning, like I was and so many others. And we really have the pulse, our pulse on what is happening. Okay. So yeah, this is what I call the imitation of royal life. The imitation of royal life. So reach out, send me an email, and thank you so much for being here and for subscribing to my channel and for your likes and your kind comments. I will see you all in the next one. All right. And here is a goodbye from Mr. Otis, who is sleeping and snoring away. Snoring away. Say bye, Otis. Can you say goodbye to everybody? Say goodbye. All right. Be sure to check out my video tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.